Course 2, Character Design, Part 2. Welcome to the third class from Sketch to Cinematic IP. So in the previous episode, we designed the mother, the emotional core of the story, and now we get to design the force that opposes her. And just like a great hero, we also need to design a monster that isn't just scary to look at. So a strong creature design also reflects the theme of the story. If the mother represents responsibility that never ends, the monster should represent the problems that never stop coming. What makes a good monster? A great monster design isn't just random chaos. It has to have a clear concept and an internal logic, a connection to the story's theme, and a visual language that communicates its behavior. We need to understand what it wants just by looking at it. So just like with the mother's character, we need to break down a few things again. Who is the creature? Fear, desire, flaws, stakes, agency, transformation. So who is this creature? Well, we know that's a zombie and it fuses with other body parts from the other zombies that have been hacked into pieces, and together they form a bigger monster. So we got to keep that in mind, and that's going to be really fun to design. So I always grab a big image to start my drawn illustration on, because if you start with a small one and then you want to reuse some parts, you're always like, why did I do this? I'm just making it hard for myself. It doesn't take that much more space on your computer. So yeah, always work with a big image. All right, so I got my reference here. I like these ones. Like a lot of what I wanted is there. Now I'm going to make it look very different in the end. Like I said before, I think I want to grab the ribs to be the mouth, so it doesn't look like your typical boring zombie. Something more terrifying, something a little bit different. I like the torso on the other guy. He looked very strong. See, as I am doing the photo batching, I make sure that all the hands are about the same size, just so that the anatomy looks correct. Yeah, I really like that guy's face, so I was thinking two faces as the eyes of the monster. So the right eye is one zombie face, the left eye is another zombie face. Again, making sure the proportions are correct. And I always go back, I use the lasso tool to do the cut around, and then you can always erase a bit more to get more defined detail, so you see what's behind it easier. I wanted the legs to not look so much like the original. It is very chaotic. It's going to make it really hard to draw. So I figured like legs would make sense, like two legs for one leg. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that guy is really creepy, and I thought it'd be good for that area. What am I looking at now? There's so much good reference. I can't believe I found that many good reference on Pinterest. Yeah, sometimes you think you're being clever and yet you're not, because it's already out there. When you do a lot of detail, it's great, but sometimes when there's too much detail, you don't know where to look at. And the good thing with black is like it doesn't only save you time, but it helps your eye define the shape of what you're looking at, which is always a plus. You want to be able to know what you're seeing really quickly. And then if you like the detail, you can go in and admire the detail. But details, too many details will always lose the... you don't want your audience to be confused, and a lot of detail does do that, so watch out. So for these, when it's your own comic, I find you don't need to do a turnaround. You can if you want, and like it doesn't hurt, but you don't really have to. I think for animation, you do, especially when you're giving tasks to other people to help you bring your project to life. So an animator, it would be really helpful for them to get a turnaround, but for comic books, you can, but I don't need to usually. Like in the back, see that hand is just a silhouette. You don't need to draw all the veins and all that stuff. And then the blood, I usually put it at the end, because or else it's going to be too distracting when you're coloring. So I always do the blood at the end, and you try to move the blood flow to the shape that you're seeing. And then you could add a bunch of splatters at the end. It just makes it look cool. And here you go. That's my zombie cadaver fused, the thing kind of, yeah. I think it looks great. I'm happy with it. Okay, see you at the next course.